In the past year, few celebrity YouTube channels have grown so strongly as that of Jackie Mason, the world-famous comedian whose stand-up routine, politically correct, is anything but. Jackie came onto the tube in March of 2007, and within 20 seconds of his very first video, managed to insult the entire YouTube community in one fell swoop.
How do you do? Do you know how happy I am to be on YouTube? I'll be very honest with you. I don't know if YouTube deserves a sensation like me because YouTube never accomplished nothing compared to Jackie Mason. But I'm doing this as a personal favor to people who have to listen to and watch YouTube all the time and they accomplish nothing because most people on YouTube never amounted to anything, never got anywhere in life. They mean nothing to anybody.
Well, somehow Jackie, or as he calls himself on YouTube, the Ultimate Jew, has found a strong following on the site. He has around 150 videos, several of which have over 10,000 views. And suddenly a man who found his start on the Ed Sullivan Show, won an Emmy for his voice work on The Simpsons, has found himself a superstar in the new world of online video. Jackie, thanks for joining us on CitizenTube. Tell us, what made you decide to start a channel on YouTube?
What made me start a channel on YouTube is because I see all kinds of sick people, with perverted people and sadistic people and crazy people saying all kinds of degenerate kind of expressions on YouTube. It's a kind of a cesspool of dirt, vulgarity, and insanity. And I found it so repulsive and disgusting that I thought somebody should try to make sense about reality, about life, and say something constructive and intelligent. And I think I have something to contribute, not only for the purpose that I could be helpful to people, but also to decimate and destroy the absolute insanity of the things people are listening to. Somebody should try to create some influence over this disgusting material that they keep hearing, and see the difference between that material and something that makes sense.
What have you learned from your time on YouTube so far?
Every kind of sick person who needs an outlet for his insanity finds YouTube a convenient location. It's a perfect outlet for nuts and maniacs. And the more I see of it, the more I realize that what I'm doing is exactly the right thing to do, to educate the people to overcome this insanity. Because let's be honest about it. Any place else, if you want to express yourself like a moron and say sick, vicious, sadistic things, there's no outlet for it. You either have to act civilized, or if you say things like that publicly, somebody will punch you in the mouth or throw you out of a window. So you control yourself and you're careful about what you say. But on YouTube, well, you're a hidden human being. Nobody knows who or where you are. So all of a sudden, whatever hateful, sick things people have on their minds, they find a way to express it where they know there's no retribution and there's no punishment. When people feel free to do what they please, the truth of their sick personalities comes out.
You've spent a lot of time on your YouTube channel talking about the 2008 election, and you've been an ardent critic of Barack Obama. What is it that you dislike about Obama, and what would you say to him if you met him on the street?
If there's anybody who finds anything to like about Obama, you have to find out what's wrong with the person who says that there's nothing wrong with Barack Obama. If there's nothing wrong with Barack Obama, in your opinion, there's something wrong with you. The best way to prove that somebody has a screw loose is to ask him how he feels about Barack Obama. If he thinks Barack Obama makes sense, then he doesn't. And that's the best proof that the man belongs in a sanitarium. If you saw Barack Obama on the street, what would I say to him? First of all, I wouldn't even talk to him because I don't talk to people that I have no respect for. And second of all, I wouldn't even walk on the same street with him because when a guy is that insane, I'm afraid to even get close to him because it might rub off.
Same question for John McCain. If you ran into John McCain while you're walking on the street, what would you say to him?
What I would say to John McCain is thank God that a guy like you is running for president so at least people could see the difference between a person who's experienced in the field of politics, in the security of America, who knows and cares about the job he wants to take because he has knowledge and experience in it, and he knows everything and so much about it, and he proved it. Here is a guy who proved that he knows this job. Here is another guy running against him who proved he knows nothing about it, because every time they disagree with each other, all it proves is Barack Obama can't even approach the subject because he doesn't even know where it comes from. Here is a man who proved himself. When we were losing the war in Iraq, he was fighting for the surge, which made the difference. It means that now we won the war. Not only did we win the war, and not only was he the one who fought for it harder than anybody, and he was positive it would make a difference where nobody else did, or very few people did. And he even had to fight the people in his own party because he was so determined to make it happen. When a guy is going against the tide and he sees the difference about the significance of what has to be done to win a war, don't you think that's proof that he knows something about his job? Now, the man who was against the surge, who didn't believe in it, not only that, he said it wouldn't work. Not only did he say it wouldn't work, he said we would lose needless lives. Not only that, he also said that it's an unwinnable war no matter what we do. This man would have not only lost the war, but we, America, would have been in a position to be vulnerable to attacks all over the world because everybody would have seen America as a hopeless country that could accomplish nothing and can't even win a war against a tiny country like Iraq. A couple of insurgents from the Al-Qaeda in a cockamamie country like that. This man would have cost America the respect of the world, and America would have been a decimated country in desperate trouble because we would have had more terrorist attacks than ever before when they found that terrorism could win. Terrorism could win by when a war in America could be vanquished and will suddenly be exposed as a helpless country that could accomplish nothing. This man who would have destroyed America wants to be president of the United States. And here is a man who absolutely was saving America by coming up with the best idea to win the war, is now in a questionable contest towards a hopeless, helpless guy like Barack Obama who doesn't even know what the hell he's talking about. Does this sound to you like this should be a question of an election? What's your opinion? Hello?
What makes you the ultimate Jew?
What makes me the ultimate Jew is that not only am I Jewish, but I'm proud of it. And in a country where Jews are ashamed and embarrassed by it because they feel like a meaningless minority and they have to lose their identity to feel accepted, and they are desperate to assimilate and think that they have to lose their culture, their history, their religion, and their character in order to win acceptance, I think that's a shameful thing and it's embarrassing. That's how Jews feel, that because they're a minority, they're embarrassed and ashamed of their religion. That's why they're changing their names and cutting off their noses all the time. I keep my regular nose. You see this nose? I've always had it, and I'm keeping it. Do you know how many Jews are so embarrassed to be Jewish that they're cutting their noses off? Do you notice that Jewish noses are getting smaller and smaller every year? Pretty soon there'll be no nose at all. Jews will be walking around like this. How you doing? They won't even be able to talk because there'll be no nose and they can't breathe. Now, I want to ask you a question. If you still eat a piece of cake and you have no nose, which means you can't even breathe and you can't even smell the cake. So the most important thing to the Jewish people is cake. And you're going to lose the taste for cake. Is it worth it? Is it worth it just because you're embarrassed by your Jewishness to stop eating cake for the rest of your life? Now, stop to think of it, how important this is.
And finally, what do you think is right or wrong with American politics today?
What's right or wrong with American politics is nothing. What's wrong with the American people should be the question. The American people don't understand their political issues and know nothing about them. And that's why we have a consistent mob of terrible presidents throughout the history of this country. When people discuss if they should vote for Barack Obama or McCain, I almost never hear somebody discussing an issue. They never talk about who's right or wrong about an issue. All they say is Barack Obama, look how tall he is. It's about time we had a tall president. Does he have to make sense? It's not important. Height is more important. We never had a black president. Don't you think it's about time we had a black one? Does he know what he's doing? Who cares? But at least we'll have a black president finally. And look how good he looks. It's no accident that before people run for president, the first thing they do is go on a diet. And everybody says, when somebody's going on a diet, I know we must be running for president. Now, by the time they become president, they look perfect. But the country looks like it's in trouble. He looks good, but the country looks bad for the future because the country has no future when people like this become the president of the United States. And why do they become president? Because the people of America are ignorant and they couldn't care to learn about the issues and they don't care about the consequences of the man who gets the office of the presidency of the United States. Consequences mean nothing to them. Jackets, shirts, ties, weight, height, noses. This is what they care about. And that's why we have great-looking presidents who are ruining America. I want to tell you something, and I mean this about Steve Grove and CitizenTube. When I heard about this site, and I looked at it, and I heard what you guys are asking and doing and thinking about, I said to myself, this is absolutely refreshing. This is fascinating. Instead of all the nonsense I hear every place else, all over YouTube, all this meaningless garbage, I suddenly heard something about things that are important and issues that really matter. You could learn more on this channel, and you could educate yourself better on this channel to find out more about what's really happening and really makes a difference in 10 minutes on this channel than you could in 30 hours of everything else that's going on YouTube.